So for today, I'll be testing my MSI GTX 1080 Ti Gaming X. My barebones system CPU will be an Intel i5 7600. The CPU cooler is a Deepcool Maelstrom 120T liquid cooling system. There will also be a single 8GB stick of HyperX Fury DDR4 memory. The motherboard is a Strix B250F gaming motherboard, and it is all powered by a Silverstone Strider Plus 700-watt power supply. The games that I'll be using as benchmarks will be CSGO, GTA 5, The Elder Scrolls Skyrim Special Edition, Fallout 4 and Watch Dogs 2. All the in-game settings will be set to Ultra or maxed out at 4K. The first game that I'll be starting with is CSGO. You can see that all the settings are set as high as they can go, except for motion blur, which is turned off. Throughout the gameplay, the FPS never dropped below 100. I had done some benchmarks using Fraps, and here are the results. Note that the benchmark was taken while not recording. Now looking at GTA 5, the settings are set to Ultra and the advanced settings are maxed out except for the resolution scaling. I'm using the in-game benchmark tool as well as Fraps. during the in-game benchmark, there were some objects popping in at times, but during gameplay, I never noticed any objects popping in. For the Elder Scrolls Skyrim Special Edition, I maxed out all the settings and the game played like a dream at a solid 60 frames per second. But the reason why I couldn't go any higher was from what I believe is the vertical sync. I couldn't find a setting for that, but just knowing that it could easily handle 60 frames, I saw no reason to keep looking. The game was also playing with some 4K texture mods, and it was still playing at a solid 60 frames per second. I used Fraps to benchmark the game in high action areas like killing everyone in Whiterun, and here are the results. For Fallout 4, all the settings were maxed out, and altogether the game ran fairly decent. I wouldn't say the best, but 4K maxed settings, running at around 48 FPS, is playable. Here are the benchmark's results. Now here is where the CPU and the RAM really suffers. The two games, Far Cry 5 and Watch Dogs 2, really strain the system in terms of performance. I'll be starting with Far Cry 5 as it performed better than Watch Dogs 2. Far Cry 5's settings were set to Ultra, and here is how it performed with its in-game benchmark tool. Here are the results on the gameplay benchmark using Fraps. Last but not least, Watch Dogs 2. This game I do not recommend to use on a setup equivalent to this. For Watch Dogs 2, most of the settings were maxed out and VSync was enabled, but had no difference in game performance whatsoever. Here are the benchmark results. After the benchmark, I lowered the settings down to Ultra and turned some other graphics down to High, and I was able to stay above 30 FPS. So the overall experience with this setup has been quite good for the price, as the total cost of the PC was around 1,445 Australian dollars, including the storage, which contains a 240GB SSD and a 1.5TB hard drive. The GPU was the only second-hand part for 800 Australian dollars, the rest was brand new. So if you liked the video, make sure you give a like and subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this.